Hi, my name is Samantha Saltzman, and today I'd like to discuss with you the value of diversity through the use of inclusion. Now, I know what you're all thinking. We all know that inclusion is good and seclusion is bad. But really, there's more. So today I'd really like to dive into the topic of inclusion. But before we discuss the benefits of using inclusion, we first need to talk about some misconceptions concerning inclusion, as well as effective teaching practices that we may be using, as well as ones that we can incorporate moving forward. Now, before we delve any deeper into inclusion, we first need to answer this question: what exactly is inclusion? And now we may begin. So, let's talk about inclusion. The dictionary defines inclusion as the action or state of including or of being included within a group or structure. This is really important. Some people consider their students in inclusion if they are simply in a general education classroom, but that is only part of it. To truly be in an inclusion setting, the students must be fully encompassed within the classroom. The students must be involved in peer participation, group discussion, and be a part of class activities as much as they are capable. I do not consider a student included when they are sitting in the back with an aide who does the student's work for them. Bring that student in with the rest of the class. Partner them with a peer if they need assistance. And for goodness sakes, modify the activity so that they have a chance to try and do it on their own. An inclusion classroom should not be a place where the student is already set up for failure. This leads me to my next slide. Teachers should think of inclusion as serving all students with disabilities, regardless of severity or type of disability within the classroom. In order for this to work, you need to think of all your students as equal. Yes, I know, you have a list of accommodations to consider that make your students unequal, right? Wrong. Think of it this way. You have little Johnny in your class. He is your average student. You know his favorite color is red, so you try to give him red sticker stars when he does well. The second you give Johnny that red star, you are accommodating his love of the color red. Yes, I know it's not exactly like making sure you have an enlarged print version of your worksheets, but the concept is the same. You go out of your way to make your student's day a little brighter and a little more comfortable. You do it for all your students. Some just need bigger accommodations than getting their favorite color sticker. In this next section, we get to talk about three common misconceptions and concerns some teachers may have when dealing with inclusion. First, is inclusion an option? No. Under the Individuals with Disability Act, or IDEA, students are to receive free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. Therefore, if a student can function positively in a general education setting, then they need to be included. No excuses. The second is inclusion is just so hard. General education teachers typically complain about the added workload of accommodating students. I want you all to take a step back and think about a student you have or had in your class with a disability. Can you picture their face? Good. They have to live with their disability for the rest of their life. Take a moment and let that sink in. Isn't that worth considering when you complain about the extra hour of planning? You have to make accommodations for 1 year. They have to live the rest of their life with a disability they didn't ask for. Now, I'm not saying your students need your pity, because they don't. What they do need is for you to put in the effort to make their educational experience a great one. To do this, you may need to spend some extra time planning. You may need to have to do outside research, and you may have to take some work home with you. But it is all worth it when you see a student with disabilities treated like any other kid, and to see their face light up when they get to participate like normal students. Make things easier on yourself. Work as a team and share ideas. Google. Google is an amazing thing. You can find so many helpful blogs, websites, and resources simply by typing it into a search engine. Plus, the longer you teach, the more resources and ideas you will have stashed away that you can pull out and use again. So don't get discouraged. It gets easier over time. The third concern is that inclusion will take away my attention from my other students. Some teachers are concerned about the effect having students with disabilities in their classroom will have on their general education students. They fear their students will be distracted or neglected and their education will suffer. This is just plain wrong. If you are doing inclusion right, all students will benefit. Inclusion means one of the group. So all students will receive equal quality of education. Now, I didn't say the same because it won't be the same for each student, but it will be equal. We are on our way. I have seen some amazing strategies in our classrooms that truly exemplify inclusion. For example, in Miss Johnson's class, she has incorporated sensory elements into her lessons. Not only does it benefit her student with autism, it also benefits her general education students because it adds tactile reinforcement to her lessons. Miss Smith gives all her students a private behavior calendar. Each day, she monitors student behavior and colors in the date according to how the student did. She implemented this 2 years ago when she had a student with behavioral issues and has been using it ever since. She said it really helps her students because it increases her students' self-awareness of their behavioral progress. The last topic I want to discuss for this slide is something we can all improve on, our attitude. Now, attitude isn't necessarily a strategy, but it is incredibly important for student success and for your sanity. Your students can sense when you're having an off day, so you need to learn to fake it until you make it. Your students need to see a positive and accepting attitude in you at all times. This is crucial for your classroom environment. If you do not exude acceptance, patience, and tolerance, your students will not either. And your classroom will not be a safe place for discussion for students who are not the majority, and it will be especially hard for your students with disabilities to feel comfortable in their own classroom. In order to create a classroom where inclusion is possible and your students thrive, you need to have the right attitude. All the research and strategies will mean nothing if you don't have a positive attitude towards inclusion. Here are some benefits of inclusion. For the students with disabilities, being included in the general education setting as much as possible will do wonders for their self-esteem. All kids want to be normal. even students without disabilities. Allowing students to participate in normal school activities can really uplift their spirits. Including students with disabilities in the general education setting allows them to form friendships and peer role models for social interactions, academics, and behavioral skills. This is something they would not get in a special education classroom. Inclusion also benefits general education students. Through inclusion, students will learn to appreciate and accept individual differences. Students are also more likely to understand and accept diversity. Inclusion allows students without disabilities to get an increased knowledge of subject matter by practicing and teaching students with disabilities. All around, inclusion creates well-rounded kids and gives beneficial opportunities to all students involved. I hope you have learned at least one new thing today and that your ideas concerning inclusion have shifted positively. Thank you and have a great day.